Sega X Toho. Whoa. Footsteps. Yeah, compressed FMVs. That's pretty cool. The only Japanese Godzilla I've ever seen was the original. But I just watched Minus One, and the day before that I watched Godzilla X Kong. So I wanted to play this and talk about it. I've never really played like a real-time strategy. I guess unless you count like Halo Wars. I used to have a Chinese friend that talked about Jason Hugh. I used to watch him play StarCraft. Damn, he's getting fucked up. He never makes that sound in Minus One. I just realized that. Classic, yeah. Alright, see if we can figure this shit out. I used to have the original movie on DVD back in my early 20s, I think. It was in like I remember it was like a hardcover DVD case with red letters. I think it came with the Americanized version of the first one too. I didn't watch it. But yeah, Minus One is kind of like a reimagining, I guess. Remake. Prequel or whatever. But yeah, Godzilla X Kong, Godzilla's like barely in it really. He's kind of just like a secondary character. He's trying to power up because he senses the bad guy coming. Destroyer. Like James Rolfe would say, Destroyer. That happens in the movie too. Yeah, really it was just about like Kong trying to find his people. And he gets like a powered up fist. It's just kinda cool. It looked dumb in the trailer. And he like has a junior Kong. It's funny because he gets like ambushed by these like bad guy Kongs. And like the kid is one of them, right? And he like grabs the junior Kong by the ankle and fucking beats the other apes with it. It was pretty cool. He Sparta kicks one. There's basically like a bad guy, Scar King. He's kind of like a big, he's like Lanky Kong, dude. They got Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong. No wonder like that Planet of the Apes movie flopped, dude. Because unless you're gonna have like people fighting back against the apes, it's not gonna be as cool as giant apes fighting each other and shit. And they kind of try to do that thing that like Thor Love and Thunder did, where it's like synthwave aesthetic and with the soundtrack. But I think the biggest contrast between Godzilla X Kong and -1 is the difference in the tone, but also like the human characters. Like in Godzilla X Kong, there's the chick from the last one and the little girl trying to find her people. And then like this Scottish like military guy is pretty funny. And then Dan Stevens, I always hear that name, but I've never really seen anything he's in. And I was like kind of doing other shit towards the beginning, but I guess he's like the animal expert, sort of. We're there to like check on Kong, because they have like a whole base where they like watch Kong, see what he does in the Hollow Earth. And then like the annoying black guy, and those two like progressively like get more gay to the point where at the end of the movie the black guy tells Dan Stevens that he wants to like kiss him on the lips and shit, which was weird. Yeah, like I was saying with -1, like it's kind of like a war movie. It's kind of cool to see it like from the Japanese perspective, and it's like pretty serious. Like there's moments where it felt like it could have been like melodramatic, or like I could have like made fun of it for a little bit. But like the performances, that guy Sakashimi, what was his name? Whatever the fuck. He's pretty good. He's basically like a kamikaze pilot that's like, fuck this, the war's over, I'm gonna like pretend to like be downed. And he lands on a little island with a bunch of mechanics, and like Godzilla comes on the island. And like at first I was like, oh, it's weird that he's like so small and like kind of nimble. But later on it's like, oh, he gets bigger. Yeah, because they're like testing bombs and shit. But yeah, Godzilla comes on board, and the mechanic guy like tells him to shoot him with the gun that's in the plane, and he like freezes. And one of the other fucking mechanics shoots Godzilla, and they all die and shit, except for the one guy, Takibana. And he's like pissed at the dude for not shooting. And like as they're being rescued on a boat, he like hands him a picture of like all the dead mechanics and their families and shit. It's pretty fucked up. Oh damn. Attacking the island. Got some good music. Damn, they fucking talk a lot. Barking orders. But yeah, so he comes back to Tokyo from the war, and it's all like fucked up, and everyone's living in shanty towns. And he runs into this one lady. She's not old, I guess, but she kind of looks old, I guess, because she's all just frazzled and shit. And she's like talking shit to him, talking about like how fucked up everything is. And then he's like, are my parents alive? And she looks at him like, the fuck you ask me? And she's like, nah, everyone's dead. And then like out of nowhere, this chick, like, I guess she was stealing or whatever, and she like hands him a baby. And he like waits for her for a long time, and when he finally leaves, she like comes up behind him and like kind of like wants to live with them, basically, because the little girl was orphaned. And so they kind of start living together, and in order to get money, he has to like go out into the sea and like hunt like mines and shit that are left in the ocean from the war. And he has a crew that's really cool. They have like a wooden boat so they can actually like grab the mines. And there's like a scientist guy, like with funny hair and glasses, and the captain guy, and a younger guy. And it's a really like they have like a cool friendship throughout the movie. And at one point they're like used as like guinea pigs to like lure Godzilla out, and like they have to like throw bombs in his mouth, which is pretty cool. And they like blow a chunk of his face, but he can like regenerate. And then like a big warship comes and shoots him, but he like just goes underwater, and he just goes underwater and like shoots the heat ray at him. I didn't know it was called heat ray. That was like atomic blast or whatever. But before that, yeah, eventually he like gets enough money to like upgrade his house and shit. Everyone's living in the fucking shacks and he's got like a nice house. And like there's a part where he's like having PTSD. And I was like, what? Because they're like, he's like not sleeping with the chick, right? They're like in separate rooms. And I was like, that's when I was gonna make fun of it. I was like, that's not believable. But then he like freaks out and has like an intense scene, you know. And then there's a funny, or not a, there's a cool part later where they have a scene where they're all like in the new house with his crew. Like he invites them over, and the little girl like wants to call him dad, and he's like, nah, no, don't call me that shit. And his friends like call him out on it. They're like, why don't you want to call him that? Or like, you know, that's fucked up to say. And then he's like, you know, I don't want a family and shit. And like the scene ends with them like asking him, like, why? What the fuck? You know, this like hot chick comes in and you have like a kid or whatever. It's like a family or whatever. Yeah, but later on there's a scene where like Godzilla like strikes, cause like she's the chick Noriko. She's fed up that he doesn't want to like marry her or whatever. So she's like, I'm gonna get a city job so you can find a wife one day or whatever. And like the city that she's in, it's like, I guess adjacent to Tokyo. But Godzilla like surfaces there. And it's a really cool scene. There's like reporters like filming Godzilla and talking about it as he's like walking by. And it's like the big traditional, big hips Godzilla. He knocks over buildings with his hips. Or her, whatever the fuck. Non-binary Godzilla. But yeah, she's in that town. She's like on a train, and he like attacks it and shit. And but the dude Shikishima, he meets her up. Yeah, he meets up with her. But the guy Shikishima, he meets up with her in the city, and but then Godzilla comes and shoots his nuclear blast, and like the aftershock from it, like she pushes him into like an alley, and she like flies back. But it's like, why didn't she just jump in the alley too? It didn't really make sense. But he like comes out of the alley, and there's nothing there, so she's like totally gone. Later on, it is kind of doesn't make sense because later on she does survive, but it's like, how could she survive that, dude? She would have like flown over that debris and died. But I think by the end of it, like, and like I was saying, that leads to a scene where like they have like a memorial for her or whatever, and the little girl's crying, and Shikishima is just like sitting there like, what the fuck, dude? Another person died on me, and I'm still alive. And I felt like in that moment, kind of answered the crewmate's question, because they were there with him in the house. And also the old lady, not old lady, but the lady that was mean to them. Oh yeah, I forget, she like helps them out earlier when the little girl's still a baby. She gives them like rice and shit, but she's like still trying to be mean about it, like she's not nice. But I mean later on she just takes care of the girl. But anyway, So yeah, I thought that was like a pretty good intense scene. And like yeah, he goes through so much shit, and like the little girl is, you know, she's always crying for the mom. There's a scene where she like draws a picture of all of them, and like remembering the mom like makes her start crying. So like I feel like the characters like went through so much bullshit that like to like throw in the mega happy ending where like after they've won and beaten Godzilla, she's the chick Noriko is still alive. So it feels earned, I guess. Even though you could argue that like it kind of makes all that dip into melodrama. But yeah, before that, so basically they don't know what to do about Godzilla, and the scientist guy like kind of gathers a group of civilians to like hatch a plan to like sink Godzilla and then bring him back up and like have him be disoriented by it or fucked up. And it's a cool scene where they're like, he tries to inspire all these people to join this shit after they've just been in a war. I feel like the movie kind of like celebrates things like the kamikaze pilots while also acknowledging that like the government like their government mishandled it and the war was fucked up and all that shit, you know. So that was good. Let's try this again. Now let me know what we're doing. But yeah, so they're basically going to use these warships to like sink Godzilla into the lowest part of the ocean. Some kind of, I forget the trench. The Mariana Trench. It made me think of that from Metalocalypse. Oh, and one of the warships is Hibiki, which I thought was cool. And and they also have like a prototype fighter plane that they want Shikishima to fly to like lure Godzilla to that spot. And it's cool. It's the local fighter Shinkan. It's pretty sick. But it's like they don't know how to fix it because I guess the people that made it aren't around or they died or whatever. And so he has to like, in order to find redemption, he has to find the Takabana guy, the mechanic, and like bring him on board to like fix it. And he does it by like writing him letters saying that like it was his fault that those other mechanics died or whatever. And he finds him and like, you know, beats him up and is like, what the fuck? But eventually he agrees to like fix the plane. And there's a scene where like him Shikishima's in the cockpit and they're in there, and because also in order to redeem himself, he wants to like actually fly into Godzilla's mouth and explode a bomb into his head. And so he's like explaining to him how to like release the safety and shit. And then he shows him something else, but they don't show you what it is until later. But in the whole time you think that Takibana wants Shikishima to kill himself and like actually do the right thing, right? But later on, when the actual final battle happens and they sink Godzilla and bring him back up, he flies the plane into his mouth and it explodes. And oh yeah, at one point the captain guy and his crew like talks to Shikishima on the phone, and he's like, I won't forgive you if you abandon or if you orphan Akiko, or whatever her name is, the little girl. And so then it explodes, right? It explodes Godzilla's head. He was about to shoot a heat blast. It's a cool scene because like he shoots a heat blast at like a dummy warship that they had like rigged up, and he has to like charge up, and then they sink him. And it like extinguishes him, but he's like, I don't know, he's not struggling or anything, but they like can't like just release him or leave him down there. and so they float him back up, and he gets stuck like halfway there, and the warships don't have enough pull to like bring him all the way back up fast. And so earlier there was a scene where the crew has to like they're gonna take off on this mission, right? But they leave the young guy behind. The captain's like, "We leave the future to you," but he's like, the young guy really wants to like go help them. And he basically shows up with like a fleet of tugboats, and they help the ship pull Godzilla back up. And then yeah, that's when Shikishima flies the local fighter Shinden into his mouth, and you think he's dead, right? Because like Godzilla explodes, and then like the heat ray like kind of implodes him. But then it cuts to a flashback of Takibana showing him about the ejector seat. And so you see him like parachuting down onto the ship, so he's safe. And then like while that's going on too, the neighbor lady, the mean lady, Sumiko, she gets a postcard or whatever. And you can already tell what it is. It's that Noriko's alive. And so yeah, that and then after all that happens, they reunite, and it's like the happy ending and shit. And the last shot of the movie or whatever is like a piece of Godzilla's flesh, like bubbling and like reforming itself and shit. But yeah, I think it was really cool because like having you really care about the human characters makes Godzilla scarier and more serious in -1. Nice. Now we know what we're doing. So yeah, I thought it was good. Lived up to the hype, for sure. So weird. Maybe this one will be cooler. Oh shit. They go all the way around. Yeah, here they come. Do they actually getting closer. Did I shoot him? It is finally letting me attack. They automatically keep attacking. Shoot this piece of shit. Oh, he's dead. Okay. What else do I have? A lot of shit. you have to keep telling it to fire. Oh shit, there's two guys here. Did I actually hear it? Shoot this motherfucker. Oh, it's a laser gun. Damn, a laser. Oh, I killed him. That was sick. I finally figured it out.